Here we are then, folks. Back in episode 12, made it to the dozen of the Silly Goose Gang podcast. Joining us, we've got Barry Gibson, World Sambo Masters bronze medalist, Commonwealth Sambo champion, 3 times British champion, but possibly most importantly, 2 times Scottish Sambo champion, joining us tonight. So Barry, thanks very much for jumping on with us, mate. It's really appreciated.
No, thank you for having us. Thanks for the invite. It's really appreciated. Thank you. Really good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm completely jealous of that beard. Really jealous of this beard.
Do you know what? It's not a popular opinion. A lot of people, I get a lot of criticism off my dad for it. Actually, he says I shouldn't grow around my mouth what grows in abundance around my arse. I get a lot of grief for that, you know, and I'm quite proud of it at the minute. My children love it, so I'm keeping it as long as I can, really. But it's kind of it's just a bit of a bone of contention with me dad and me mum as well. They don't like it because it puts years on us, apparently, you know. But I like it. I'm embracing the beard a little bit. I'm wanting to come down a little bit further if I can and go for a bit of a crazy Viking look.
No, I can't even grow anything, and mine is going. The bit that I can grow here is starting to go grey. So I've kind of got like a grey goatee. That's what I'm kind of growing at the minute.
See, I mean, there's plenty grey in mine. I don't mind that because that's what my dad gets on about. But I think the grey looks distinguished. There's nothing worse if you're going to dye it. I think anybody with, when you see somebody with a perfectly black beard, I always think, yeah, that's a bit of just for men there, you know. Not into that. Not into that at all.
That's one of the funniest. I was trying to think. There was somebody that I seen on telly the other night, like a pop star or something. It was some jet black hair and a jet black beard. Fucking what's going on here? I know your shit, son.
Full on Grecian 2000.
Definitely, yeah. It's no good, is it? You just got to embrace the grey, man. It's like it's all part of it.
You could make Chris feel worse, Barry, because is that just a lockdown beard? Have you grown that in like 3 weeks?
Yeah, I shaved this morning.
This is genuinely, I could genuinely not shave for a month and have pretty much a 5 o'clock shadow. That's, genuinely what I could do.
This is about coming up to about 9 months now. I'd shaved last year and I hated it. I'd had a beard for about a year and I just didn't look like me anymore. So I grew it back and that was it. It's just stayed. My children had gone berserk when I took it off. So then that was it. You know, I thought, well, if the kids like it, it's staying. You know. So
it's funny. I've only had a beard for about 8 months or so. I'd always been clean shaven for years and years, like proper clean shaven with a head, like a full on, like I look like a pre-gen character in a computer game. You know, when you pick your first basic model. That's what I kind of look like. Which option of hair, which option of face. I was on holiday from work for a couple of weeks when we used to have holidays, and I kind of grew like a leave beard for a couple of weeks, and then woke up one Sunday morning before I was going to work. Thought I'll shave that off. And Sandra, my missus, had always said she hated beards with a passion. Shaved it off, and she was like, "What did you shave it off for?" And I was like, "Oh." So I've grown it back, and it's been there ever since.
That's the way. I think it's the way forward. You know, I'm enjoying mine at the minute, and it's not like a hipstery one. It's supposed to be a little bit wild as well. Do you know? So yeah, it's good. It's good. It's mine staying for a while now. That's me. I think I'm going to keep it for a while.
Aye, it's impressive. We're quite happy with the beard.
Thank you very much.
Game opening up.
Well, there you go. That's 10 minutes of me feeling sorry about myself. I feel I'm getting beard shamed. 2020, so I might go on Twitter and start a hashtag and say that you're beard shaming me.
Probably. You probably get people backing that one. The way
they would do.
Today.
They would do. So aye, it's cool. It's always cool to speak to somebody from a different discipline. We're obviously kind of jiu-jitsu guys, so it's cool to see something. But I think you were a judo background, is that originally correct?
Yeah, judo. I started judo when I was 6 with my dad. My dad's a judo player as well.
Right, okay.
My dad was like a World Masters champion back in 2000. 2000, so 20 years ago. And it was kind of always in the family, you know, Saturday afternoon wrestling, rolling around with your dad and stuff like that. And I just kind of got into it through that. And then back in the day, judo was still judo with leg grabs and pickups and things like that. So pre-rule change, judo was very similar to Sambo, which was why I crossed over.
Right, okay.
I still every now and then I still try to get onto the judo club mat because the standard is really high. It's a code-acquired judo club at South Shields. So they've got a great standard, you know, and it's good to cross train, as you guys know as well, probably.
Yeah.
But that's how I got into it. Really, was through my dad as a kid, and then I had a bit of a break when I was about 11 or 12, and I got into Kung Fu. Weirdly enough, I went through like a bit of a Bruce Lee phase, and I think most people did, to be fair. But I'm 46 this year, so I was at the era when it was like Enter the Dragon had kind of was getting shown on the TV in the early 80s, and it was like the best thing I'd ever seen, you know. So I moved into Kung Fu for a little while, and then I went back to judo after a fun fight with me dad. In around kind of, I was about my late teens, I think. I'd done it on and off throughout my teens, but mainly I'd concentrated on the semi-contact, the Lao Gar Kung Fu I'd concentrated on. And I had a bit of a fun fight with my dad, and I'd wrestled with my dad, and I'd try to square up with him, just messing around. And it was all good-natured, but I'd thrown like a 1-2 combination and then a kick, and he grabbed my leg, picked me up, and dug me head in the dog's water bowl. But at the time, I mean, bear in mind, I was 18. So when you're 18-year-old, you feel a bit like, you know what you're doing. You've trained and you feel a bit confident. Nah. As soon as my head dunked in the water, I had this like quiff thing, and it was just like it was all over the place. And he was laughing, and I was laughing about it. But I was like, right, I'm coming back to judo, because he totally squashed me kicks. I'd spent like 7 or 8 years kicking and punching and thinking I was like a bit of a Bruce Lee, Jean-Claude Van Damme hybrid, and I just got my arse handed to us by a bloke. And then I thought, yeah, I need to, you know, get back into judo. And I never looked back from about 18 or 19. And then I crossed over into Sambo. I did my first competition really through a friend in judo. I did it 2001, I think. I did the first British Championships, and then I did the British and Scottish the following year. And then I got married, and that kind of stopped. So I didn't, not through. It was just I got into the family thing. I had children, and I didn't compete for about 10 years, 9 or 10 years after that. I got back into it in 2011 again competitively, and that's when I've never looked back really. I mean, I've been abroad. I've represented Great Britain 5 times now. Hopefully, I was going to qualify. Well, I did qualify this year for the World Masters again, but with the lockdown thing, we don't know what's happening now. So that's October. So I think that's going to be cancelled.
Yeah. Where was that going to be about?
Holland. That was this year.
Holland. Okay.
It was going to be Holland. So like kind of going back to 2018 when I got my bronze medal, that was Morocco. Last year was Cyprus, and I managed 5th last year, which was a bit of a sickener, but it was just crazy. The standard. I mean, you're looking at guys. Because obviously the Masters, I don't know if it's the same for the JITs, but the Masters is age banded in like 4-year increments. Yeah. So it's like 30 to 35, 30 to 34, 35 to 39, 40 to 44, and you know. So
I think that's exactly the same.
Very close to it, if not. Yeah.
Well, they do it the same as the Judo Masters as well, and in the age bracket, I mean, there was guys in Cyprus last year who were 60 to 64 years of age. And they're coming out, you know, and we've all got our aches and pains. They're coming out with knees strapped up and bandages. And the impressive thing was these 2 guys were about 74 kilos, and they came limping on the mat. And one of them won the fight with a flying armbar. 60 to 64-year-old. So he could have been anywhere, you know, 61, 62, 63-year-old.
Aye.
And he pulled out, like, they limped on. They looked like, you know, if you saw them bimbling around a shopping centre, you'd think, oh, poor fella, you know, he must be crippled with his knees. And as soon as they gripped up, it was like just a new lease of life. Like I'd filmed Cocoon, just a new lease of life, you know. Up and over with this flying armbar, and it was like, whoa, you know, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That's one of the things I love about martial arts is that they've got age groups. So an old fella, 65-year-old, can still go and compete with another 65. That's really cool. I really like that. I really like that.
I think any grappling sport makes people like that. It just creates hardy people, and it's like my dad's the same, because people used to joke, and I'm flipping about a little bit, but I remember talking to a good friend of mine when I was working one of me. I used to be a doorman years ago, and I was working with one of my friends, and he was on about his dad had been wrestling with his son, and he'd watched him. You know, when his son was, I mean, his son's 23 now, Craig, but he was about 8 at the time. That's how far back it was, and he was talking fondly about how his dad used to wrestle with him when he was a kid, and like do that stupid, you know, like a tune that isn't really a tune, you know, they'd be like da, 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 and messing about with you and trying to flip you on your head and wedge you and all sorts. And he said I loved it today because he said I was watching my dad wrestle with my son rolling around like that, and he was still doing the same tune while he was still and I remember saying to him, I said, listen, think yourself lucky. And at the time, I can't remember how old I was. Think yourself lucky. I'm a grown man, and my dad still does that to me now. Because he always had that kind of. I mean, he works offshore. My dad, he kind of like past your neck of the woods. You know, he's worked off Aberdeen for like 34 years now, 35 years. So, and he was a rigger, so he had that kind of workable strength as well. So when he got a hold of you were going where he wanted you, you know. For judo, he just grabs your collar, and that was it. It wasn't coming off. I think that's what happens with grappling sports.
Judo.
Sorry,
yes, I was going to say totally. We've got a guy that trains at our gym that's a gym trainer, that's judo guy. And I didn't know him at all. And he's officially a white belt in jiu-jitsu. And he came in, it was one of the times we were training with the gi on, and he grabbed my jacket and just pinned me. I just could do nothing. You know, when you roll off the mat thinking, I forgot how to jiu-jitsu today. Like, I just forgot how to jiu-jitsu. It was just that strength.
What's funny, if you roll with him no-gi, if you roll with Jim no-gi, you just kind of do what you want with him. He's good. He can armbar, he can do bits and bobs. He understands obviously grappling, but no-gi, he's a bit out. He's like a fish out of water. Yeah. As soon as you roll with him in the gi, if he grabs your collar, so he gets a cuff and a collar. Oh shit, this is different. This is different. It
is. I think it's
amazing. It's as well. He's a fireman, strong guy.
Aye. Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of that happened when you had that, where people have come from like heavy industries and stuff as well, like shipyards and then the oil rigs, and it was all physical work, and there's not a lot of that now. You know, people go to call centers and sit on the backsides for quite a bit. You know, I mean, I can't say now. I'm a teacher in a school. It's like it's not physical work so you have to supplement your grappling game with going to the gym and doing stuff. And look at the fashion. 15 years ago, it started with people swinging sledgehammers, flipping tyres, and doing manual labour-looking exercises to get strong for their grappling sports, and that was kind of the advent. And that's
funny. What's funny is I got delivered yesterday. I'm just looking at it now because it's in my living room. I got delivered yesterday. I got delivered to my mum and dad's house a 35 kilo slam ball. Yeah. And my granddad, he's from Bolton. Actually, he lives with them, so. And he got delivered to his bit, and he's saying, "What is it?" And I said, "I'll show you." So I pulled it out, and he goes, "What did you do with that?" I said, "You just pick it up and throw it about." He's looking at it. I said, "This is just what men did for jobs 50 years ago."
Yeah.
I said, "Now we have to train this." I said, "So if in doubt, just pick something heavy up and move it about a bit."
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially. And if you don't have any kit, just find a big boulder, and throw it over your shoulder a lot, and chase after it.
100%.
You can't go wrong. Yeah.
100%. I used to say to people like because when I ran kind of Grapple Fit as a physical gym and had it as a business, I used to say to people, you know, people used to ask about programming, and it was dead simple. I used to say, you know, say if you did Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you did Monday, you picked, and I used to say pick heavy shit up and put it back down, and then on Wednesday pick slightly lighter shit up and throw it around, and then Friday sprint somewhere really fast. And that, I used to break it down like, so you do a strength session, a power session, and a conditioning day. And I says, you won't go for general kind of training, and even health, fitness, you know, if you want to call it strength and conditioning, that you wouldn't go far wrong with 3 sessions like that. As long as you're being sensible. I mean, there's a little bit more to it, but generally speaking, hitting those three kind of energy systems, if you like, and those 3 kind of parameters. That's you're on the right lines in terms of where you want to be.
Definitely. I've always said if I was only allowed 3 training sessions a week, I would make one of them a lifting session, one of them a running session of some description, and one of them would be doing some kind of combat sport, whether I was hitting a bag or whether I was grappling or something.
Definitely.
That'd be the 3 things I would do one week. You're not going to go far wrong at that.
100%, Chris. Yeah, you're right. That's the thing. It's like, you know, obviously it's an ideal world question, isn't it? Like, what would be your go-to thing? But there's nothing like trying to pick up and throw or straighten somebody's arm who doesn't want you to pick them up or throw them or straighten their arm. It's you know, that's the key thing, isn't it?
What we've said on here quite a lot now is speaking to people is if you leave two young kids in a room together, they generally end up wrestling.
Yeah,
because that's what little boys do. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose some little girls as well, but little boys will always, you know, if you know, I know I did, and I'm sure you do the same. And you know, I've had older cousins or whatever. You just ended up wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Just end up wrestling before you knew how to wrestle. So it's a kind of natural thing for guys to do. So it's cool when you get older and discover there's martial arts that actually are grappling. Well, that's pretty cool.
That's the thing, isn't it? I always like that because I think in terms of, you know, I look back sometimes and I wish I knew kind of as a kid. I wish I'd stuck with it through my teens as well. But I've done other things, so it's given us a grounding in other aspects as well. So, you know, I can't look back and say I regret it, but if I'd stuck with it throughout my teens as well, I think, you know.
The thing is as well is, so we would me and Ali would probably the same thing as me and say, I wish I found jiu-jitsu when I was 12-year-old, and now, you know, you'd be, you know, whatever, a coral belt or whatever you'd be by this point. But the thing is it wasn't popular. You know, I'm not 100% certain on when Sambo started to gain some popularity, but you know, jiu-jitsu didn't get popular until 1994, essentially. So you know, there wasn't as many. You know, there wasn't everywhere where we are now. There's a jiu-jitsu club. Oh, you know, there's a lot of judo clubs as well. There wasn't that many 20 years ago, but now they're becoming more popular. So, you know, in another 20 years' time, they'll probably be more popular. So you can only go with what you had at the time.
Of course,
if there wasn't a lot at the time. What can you do?
Totally.
It's
you know what I mean? It's like you were saying as well, Barry, about the kung fu that you got into. I was discouraged from that by my dad because my old man was in the Navy and he cross-trained with the Royal Marines a lot, and they used to do unarmed combat, which is essentially a form of grappling. You know, it's throws, it's disarms in the extreme. And he always said, all that flashy stuff doesn't work. What you want to learn to do is throw someone and punch them in the throat. Yeah. And that's not what you get taught in karate and recite sort of stuff. And there was nothing else out there until you turned 18, 19 and could then, you know, join the forces and learn all how to throw someone and punch them in the throat, other than on the mean streets of the South.
One of the things that helps as well is, you know, years ago, you know, when we're all old enough to remember the world without the internet, where now you can just Google a gym and there'll be something, and crucially, you can figure out who's full of shit, because you know, years ago there'd be a lot of people who were teaching you stuff and people would go and fall for it and go, no, this works. But now that's not really possible, you know. You
hit a good point there, because you still see that, and like you talk about the popularity of Sambo, and we're still, the British Sambo Federation and the coaches in there trying to build up the popularity, and it's getting there. It is getting there a little bit, but it's nowhere near as popular as judo or BJJ now as well. But what amazes me is, and there's an account on Instagram. It's McDojo.
McDojo,
yeah. Well, that guy's absolutely fantastic for outing people. But and I love some of the stuff that he puts out. But you know what really resonates with me is these guys' classes and seminars are packed.
Yeah. I know.
And I'm like, you know, to me, I think I'm a reasonable coach. You know, I think I can put things across to people quite well.
Yeah.
But I don't know if people don't, and I've had conversations with other coaches about this, and I don't know if people don't like the, you know, because jitsu's hard, judo's hard, sambo's hard. So I don't know if they don't like the grind.
It's the people who are looking for a magic diet pill. That's it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. They don't really want to do, you know, getting your arse kicked for 3 years before you start to be able to hold your own. They just want to be able to go in, and somebody will say, no, if you just settle your chi. Oh my God, this is, you know what I mean? That's what it's the guys looking for a diet pill.
It's bizarre, because you even see places like, Krav Maga coaches doing that. And I'm not railing on Krav as such, because I do think a lot of combat sports, and martial arts, if you want to call them that, it's the person doing it rather than the art itself, depending on how effective it is.
Yeah,
and I've got a good friend of mine's testimony to that, because karate tends to get a little bit of a bad rep, and it gets lumped in with the McDojo stuff. But a pal of mine is like he's a 6th Dan, and he's a police officer now. He was a doorman years ago, and he was one of the most effective people I'd ever seen. And his karate was dead basic, but his teaching's quite traditional. He could make it in Japan. He's that traditionalist about it. He hates the whole idea of how they've gone. With the padding and the safety. Health and safety means now to my mate Ed. It's one of those things where you're just protecting the young'uns though, Ed. And he's like, no, he says they should do it like we did on basketball courts. No mats, none of that, full on foot sweeps and stuff like that. But he's very traditional in it. But he's a guy who has took the basics from his art and can apply it to personal settings, sports settings, personal safety settings. And I think it is, it's the person behind it looking at the application to a degree. So I think there's a lot of there's always this debate about what's more effective and what But I think the thing is comes down to it all, really.
Yeah. The thing is, with a lot of these martial arts is, essentially, if they're all doing, if it doesn't really matter what it is. If they're not harming anybody by being ridiculous, like the McDojo life stuff. So if people are coming into a gym, they're getting a little bit fitter, they're in a nice community where they're making friends and stuff, they're learning something which has got some kind of importance. It doesn't really matter if it would be the most effective in MMA. If they're all having a nice time, it's when you get the McDojo life guys coming in and they're doing it. This is how you stop somebody shooting you, and you go, what the fuck are you doing? Please never do that. Do you know what I mean? But if somebody's doing whatever it is, because you mentioned karate, sometimes people think it's a bit, but it will be effective. It might not be as effective as a guy who's, very good at Sambo, or a guy who's very good at Judo, or a guy who's very good at Jiu-Jitsu, but within its own format and its own setting, if you're good at it, you will be good at it. And if you're getting fit and having fun with your friends, that can only possibly be good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It can only be good.
I always wonder with those McDojo life gyms, I presume people like us walk in for the first class and go, okay, I'm never coming back. Because surely the people that go and get it up at the seminars, they must be brainwashed. It must be a cult.
Yeah, but
to avoid it, like you're saying, Chris, for the chi, I'll direct the chi and you'll fall over.
But those guys would have ended up in Scientology if they had just found Scientology first. Do you know what I mean? Because they're just people who...
Or in the Manson family.
Exactly. They're just a cult. It's just that's what they've found. You know what I mean? It's like when people say, whatever somebody says, you're addicted to training. All you do is want to go to the gym, and you go, yeah, but all you do is watch EastEnders. So we're all addicted to something. It's just it's the same thing. They're morons who have found McDojo life, whereas in another life they might have found Scientology or name something else, or the Manson clan. That's all it is.
It is. It's
just for any listeners, other pseudo religions are available at every good dojo shop.
Well, I have to stop everything right now because Ali's mentioned this. Do you or do you not do the Star Wars thing to get a day off work?
1,000,000% yes. Absolutely, but that's not a McDojo pseudo religion. That's real.
It's not a real religion.
Of course it is.
Star Wars is not a real religion.
No, Star Wars isn't, but being a Jedi is. So you get May the 4th as a religious holiday every year.
Oh my God!
And because of religious observance rules, your employer can't argue against it.
Do you see what I'm working with here? Barry? Jesus Christ!
Hey, do you know what though? I might try it. I'm going to work on convincing arguments.
I know. I'm trying to work in May the 5th for Revenge of the 5th, so I get a 2-day holiday at the Boxing Day.
Oh man,
Ali, that's a good idea. I like that.
Jesus. Revenge of the 5th works every time.
Yeah, but it does. It baffles me that how they you see them doing seminars and they're absolutely heathen. You think, what are you doing? And I mean, I love the videos where they get outed. That's my favorite. Yeah. Where like a chi master takes on like an amateur MMA fighter and gets his lips smacked off. That's just the best ever.
The Chinese one was good. Did you see the Chinese one? There was a Chinese one, and what was the guy now? The guy was like
it was Tai Chi Kwang Master or something,
something like that, and he fought a young just a novice MMA fighter, and everybody was there. It was a big setting to watch this Chinese master do his work, and this young upstart MMA fighter. The MMA guy just double-legged him and beat the shit out of him for 20 seconds, and then they all had to pull him off, and then and then the guy who won, the MMA guy, had to go into hiding because they were all like this. You've shamed our national sport, and all this kind of. Oh, it's crazy. There's a video of it on YouTube someplace. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
It turned out his Chi Shield was no good against a blast double leg.
Which who knew?
Yeah,
I know.
Well, I don't know if you remember, there was a one that the famous guy in America. I don't even want to mention his name because he's I don't know. It feels like we're acknowledging him, but
grey-headed guy, the kind of fat guy, the grey hair. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, I don't even want to mention his name to give him any credence, really. But he was talking, and somebody, I think there was like a documentary went over there, TV show went over and tested his theory out. And when it didn't work on one of the guys that had walked in as the experiment, he actually said, well, he must have been standing with his weight on his middle toes rather than his big toes. And if he has his tongue in the roof of his mouth, then it's not going to work on him. I was like, what's that about? So he had like a list of excuses as to why this G knockout, no touch knockout, wouldn't work on him, and it was something to do with the position of his tongue in his mouth and where his toes were.
Oh God! I wonder how much those guys who are trying to sell this bullshit. I wonder how much they've lied to themselves over the years that they probably start to believe their own bullshit. In their head, they've told lies so often that they just believe that as the truth now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I suppose if they've got enough followers as well, blowing smoke up their arse on a regular basis, that's
all you need. Because everybody, people, everybody wants to belong to something. So if somebody belongs to this fucking chi club, they're just going to believe the leader. That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's essentially what religion is, isn't it? It's just, you want to believe to this thing so badly. You want to be in this club that you just believe it, and then just before you know it, you're in McDojo life getting double-legged by a fucking... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it seems hilarious, but you could see how people, how they could end up falling for that stuff.
I mean,
there's always going to be people. There's always going to be people that are, whatever, weak or gullible or susceptible to that. And I think the type of people that run that exploit it as well, like you're saying, like cult leader almost. They're like, we walk in and they go, I don't think it's right for you. Like, you know what I mean? You're almost discouraged to go away because we'll call out the bullshit. But someone else comes in and they go, you're a come into the fold.
Yeah.
Is it almost like, like Charlie Manson in The Family?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, I know we're talking quite lightheartedly about it, but to be fair, on a serious level, you look at these people, they're sending people out with potentially false confidence, aren't they? It's like Joe Rogan always says it really well when you get Joe Rogan on about it, and he says anybody that does jiu-jitsu, judo, sambo, muay thai, and you get into a tussle with them, chances are they're going to beat the shit out of you, regardless. And you can argue that it's a sport, and the training sport and conditions, but it translates very well, and it translates a lot more than doing the old chi ball at somebody, doesn't it? It's like but they're giving people false hope, and I think that's the bad side of it, because it's entertaining to watch. I mean, don't get me wrong,
that's hilarious.
On Instagram, I think it's brilliant, but it's on some level, I think he's doing a great job in outing these people if it affects their gyms, which it should do.
100%.
I guess anyway, but I have a big and you guys are probably the same, but I've coached for a long time different things, and I do think quite strongly that if you're telling somebody that something works outside, then you've got to be able to kind of justify that or back that up on a moral level and a legal level.
Totally.
I don't see any of that, as much as I do love to take the piss out of them, it's kind of like there is a serious element where, because if one of my kids had decided to go and enroll in a class with these idiots, thankfully I'd be able to say, no, you're not training there. But how many people can't? How many people buy into it and think, they're going to be safe when they're walking around the city centre? They're not going to get the shit kicked out of them in Sunderland or Newcastle or,
fucking absolutely.
It's false hope, isn't it, really? It's just misplaced confidence.
get hip tossed in armbar and wonder what the fuck happened to them.
Exactly. I think the only difference is we know that jiu-jitsu wouldn't work in the streets because I would just stand up. It wouldn't work on me. I just stand up.
Yeah.
Just stand up now. It's the best one.
I also love the argument about the eye gouge as well. Well, when he tries to strangle me, I'll just poke him in the eyes and say, yeah, but he can do that as well.
Yeah.
You won't be thinking about that because you'll be wondering where your next breath's coming from. What are you talking about, you know?
I'll just poke him in the eye.
It's just stupid, isn't it, you know? Mental.
It's always amazing. One of my favourite things in the world to do is when I end up going, you know, when you're lying in the bath or whatever, and something comes up on Facebook or YouTube and it's like a fight video, and you watch these fights and it's like, why do you think that you can fight? Like, what happened here that you think? Like, if you walk into any gym of any martial art or any combat sport, you are going to get. You would, some of these guys, the football casual ones are the worst. There was a funny one when it was like Hibs and Kilmarnock or some shit, and they were fighting, and you're watching, you're going, I would put in a 14-year-old jiu-jitsu player, a 14-year-old girl against you, and she would ragdoll all these. It's hilarious. They're doing all this stuff and not punching anything. What the fuck? It's just it's so funny that these people actually think they have a chance in a fight with somebody who can actually fight. Do you know what I mean?
It's bizarre.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you getting this false sense of confidence? Well, the false sense of confidence is probably alcohol and class A narcotics, I would imagine. But
I would guess.
Do you know what I mean? What the fuck are you doing, man?
It is
so funny.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like I don't know what, and I like those as well. I like those more than the McDojo ones. To be fair, there's some absolute prize people out there who do think, like a couple of beers and it turns them into like Mike Tyson, and you think, wow, you're joking. What are you doing?
Talking about that. Have you seen the videos of Mike?
Yes, I have. No,
it's one of those things where the best person that I'd seen putting up was Higher Level.
Higher Level MMA.
It's like that's like the top MMA gym in Scotland by quite a long way. And they had put a post up, and they were just because everybody was sharing this video saying, "Iron Mike looks amazing, unbelievable, it's frightening." You go, listen. I watched his last fight 15 years ago with Kevin McBride when he was slumped onto the canvas and he asked the referee to pull him up. Mike Tyson is shot. He might look good hitting pads, but when something comes back at him, you don't get better with age, unfortunately.
No. It's different. It's different. You bang on. Like a good friend of mine, well, a couple of mates of mine have shared it, and they've said the same because they boxed, and they've said the same. It's like, yeah, he looks great, and he should keep that up for fitness, and he could coach because he's moving well. But it's a different story getting hit, especially at that age. I mean, Jesus, if he hits somebody, Christ. But if he's going in against heavyweights, because I saw one guy shared it on my Facebook. I didn't know him very well, and he shared it and said he'll go through the heavyweight division. And I thought he won't. He won't. He'll not have the legs, and I hate saying it because I love Tyson.
Everybody loves Tyson, but he won't. That's it. And
he was a phenomenon at the time, but as you say, 53 now? 54?
53,
53, yeah.
With the best will in the world, you can't do what you could do when you're in your 20s,
even
your early 30s.
You can't. No. You can't. So it's, it'd be like because you're a Sambo guy. It's like talking about when you watch Fedor now. When you watch Fedor now, and you look at him and you just think, this guy was the scariest man on the planet at one point. He looks just done. He's just done. And in terms of fighting years, he's just an old man. He has not a lot left, and there's not a lot left to give. I think to think that he can compete with the top guys now in MMA is
that's the issue. I think so. We're probably all guilty of fighting too long. I think, and you always think of one more. But at least with Sambo, it offers the Masters division, so you can kind of and there's definitely an understanding between master athletes because everybody's got the same kind of issues.
Yes.
The thing is,
Facts.
If Fedor was to just go back to doing Sambo competitions, you'd say, oh, that's cool. That's it's pretty cool of him.
Yeah.
But for MMA, like Mike, if Mike wanted to do something, if Mike wants to fight Evander Holyfield in a charity bout, I mean, if they want to do that to raise money, let them do it. I don't think they should do it. But any talk of him fighting anybody serious, you go, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm afraid not.
My mate messaged me last night, actually. He was talking about he says, have you seen the video? Because we're both big Tyson fans. We went to Hampden to see him fight when he fought back in probably about 2000 now. Yeah. Me and my mate went because we're big Tyson fans. We're the same ages. I'm 42, so that's we're all in a similar age band when we all love Mike Tyson. And he messaged me all excited, and I was like, but it's easier to look good on the pads than it is in a fight, as we've all said. And he was like, yeah, but George Foreman won the title when he was 44 or whatever. And I was like, yeah, but the guys he was fighting at that time weren't the Anthony Joshuas, the Jordan Wilders.
There's also a big difference between 44 and 53.
Which is what I said. You're talking another 10 years plus everything else on top of it.
But it's the wear and tear. So, you've got to think it's not even the chronology of the years, but it's the wear and tear. And I remember I can't remember, it was a documentary or something, and there was a guy talking, and he said he'd been told he'd had like knee replacements and God knows what. He used to wrestle, and he'd said he'd been told by like a Harley Street surgeon. And again, you know how true it could be, but in terms of your age, whatever. Every year that you're in, and he'd said a grappling game, but I think any combat sport, but every year you're in, he said the grappling game, your ligaments and your tendons and your bones age about 5 to 7 years. It's a bit like dog years. So,
wonderful.
That's how he put it across, and that's got to be the same because, and as you quite rightly say, Chris, the difference between 43 and 53 is still massive.
Huge. Yeah, massive difference. It's everybody sort of round about our age would say they were big Mike, because Mike Tyson was a phenomenal guy when he was just a freak, and everybody was a huge Tyson. If you like fighting, you like Mike Tyson. Like if you like fighting, you like Bruce Lee. I don't. There's no part of me who wants to see him in a ring again.
No.
It's sad because he might have. So if they said, next week we're going to have Mike Tyson versus Anthony Joshua, it would sell enormous amounts of tickets and pay-per-views. If Mike Tyson, went, I've got 2 rounds in me to knock him out, he might have 6 minutes in him where he could go and do something. But I doubt it, because as soon as things start coming back, it's not going to end. You don't get better with age, and that's the reality, And none of us like to admit that, but that's reality. That's harsh
it's
reality,
though. It's reality, and like Ali said as well, you can look. It's easy to look good on the pads, and I mean, let's be fair, he looked fantastic on the pads. But to put him against, like, it isn't. You can't beat time, and not only that, from that point of view as well, that sport. Your ability to recover from punches doesn't help.
Yeah.
Not long ago, you might remember, not long ago, Nigel Benn had put some footage on of hitting pads. And And I thought the same then. It's like, you were great. Don't ruin like a great legacy and put yourself at risk, health-wise as well, because that's the big thing,
Yeah, you even look at it with people because look at that Chuck Liddell when he came back there, start of this year, maybe the tail end of last, and he fought Tito Ortiz, and he just looked like an old punch-drunk man. And I mean, he's only maybe 44, 45. He's, again, near our age. And he just looked awful.
I seen him shadowboxing about 3 weeks out from the fight. And he had those the little egg things in, little hand weights, and he was shadowboxing. Yeah. And if somebody had said, oh, this is a new guy coming up, you would say, he's got a lot of work to do. But it was Chuck Liddell, and he was just done. You just go, oh, please don't do this.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, he's a grown man, and none of us are in the position to tell Chuck Liddell or Mike Tyson what to do with themselves. But
no.
They should have people around about them to say this is not a good idea.
Some kind of boxing board of control should be saying like. No.
They should be, So it's something that I would want to see.
From a sports point of view, and as somebody that competes still, you don't want to see people get hurt or because that sport in itself, they're still dangerous people. So they're still capable. They're still dangerous. So the kind of propensity for injury is massive. Like serious injury is massive.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to see it happen at all.
And what's terrifying is if Mike Tyson comes back and does an exhibition against I don't even know somebody who's not long retired. So I even think of a name. Whoever, somebody who's not long retired, maybe retired 5 years ago, and he comes back and looks spectacular. There will be a clamour for him.
Yeah.
To have a big fight, and you go no.
Yeah.
I mean, there might well be a justification to have a Masters League. I don't think anybody should be getting hit, especially with like we're saying, jiu-jitsu, judo, sambo. If you've got a Masters League, that's cool. When you're getting hit in the head, it's a different thing. I don't think. But if there was a Masters League and they want to do it,
they don't do. Well, you're saying that they don't do combat sambo in Masters now.
Or do they not?
No, they've never. It's in Masters Sambo. It's literally sports Sambo. Obviously, there's the two branches. There's combat Sambo and sports Sambo, but there's only sports Sambo in the Masters. So that says a lot. You're avoiding strikes there.
You shouldn't get hit in the head. So it's cool. It's cool that you can just do a competition. Because we're all. I mean, I can enter. I'm 35, so I can enter Masters competitions in jiu-jitsu, but I'm still entering adults because I'm stubborn and I don't want to accept I'm getting older. But we could all enter. I'd rather lose to a 22-year-old than beat a 39-year-old. But in my head, so I like I say, it's really cool that you can do that. But when it comes to getting hit in the head, let's stop it.
Your recovery's not the same, as you are when you're 20. It's
just not.
I suppose the problem is like you were saying, Chris. If he comes back and if he looks spectacular,
he looks good.
There's going to be a promoter out there that just sees dollar signs, and that's the big problem.
100%.
Let's not forget that when he's hitting the pads just now, do any of us think that he's natural, or do you think he's on the old secret sauce?
Who knows? I mean,
you know what I mean?
There's everywhere.
Marijuana's a wonder drug, apparently.
Yeah. But everywhere you go, I think like he would. The temptation would be too great. I think he would be. I think I wouldn't like to speculate. It's I think, but it's widespread, isn't it? And you look at some of them now and you think, how would you maintain that?
You wonder if he's even on semi-legal. Is he on the old TRT? Joe Rogan and those guys, they turn 50 in America, you get pay your doctor $1,500 and you get TRT.
That sounds pretty good. And to be fair, be completely fair, if I get to 50 years old and I can't train anymore and just a bit and somebody said, we can get you some testosterone, why wouldn't you take it? If you're not competing, if you're not trying to kill anybody in competition, you're just training for the fun of it, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? If it's just to get you to go to the gym.
I think when you look at it like that, I mean, years when I was a kid and I was coming in like my late teens, it was always it was under the counter in gyms, and now it's massively widespread. Like when you see that, and it's something I've never done. I've never bothered with. And you can tell when I take my shirt off because I look a clip. But ultimately, and I like your food too much for any kind of diet discipline, but ultimately, as you get older, you can see the temptation being there. And I know a few guys that have done it as they've got older for that reason, Chris, to prolong their training or to help their training. Hey, fair play. It's as you say. They're adults and they're not hurting people.
I would never condone it in competition, whatever the competition would be. If it, combat competition, jiu-jitsu, sambo, judo, any of that, I wouldn't condone it. But if you're just a guy who's getting older and your aches and pains, and you can't recover, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean, why wouldn't you? You're not hurting anybody. I'm terrified of needles. I don't have any tattoos or anything. So I couldn't. My needle fear is so bad that when I got fillings, I didn't get the injection to numb my gums.
Oh,
so they drilled my teeth out. I could feel everything. That's how I don't like needles at all.
Oh shit! I would have had to still have a needle.
I'd be terrible at taking steroids.
We were talking. I'd be the same. We were talking on an earlier. We had Ian Mackey on one of our podcasts, episode 4. He was the Olympic sprinter. Went out to Atlanta. Made it to the 100 meters Olympic semi-final, sorry. And we were talking about PEDs and sprinting because obviously in athletics, PEDs are pretty well widespread. Yeah. And Ian said a great point, Chris. He said, apart from everything else, taking everything else aside about health risks, and he said he thought the guys that were juicing, how do they lie at 3 o'clock in the morning in their bed? What does the little voice in their head say about how successful they were? Whereas Ian, who was totally clean, he can say, hand on heart, when he goes to sleep, if he that little voice that wakes you up at 3 in the morning wasn't saying, did you make it because of?
Yeah, you have to look at your kids, and your kids are really proud of you, and you have to say to them, that's all fake. Well, you know what I mean? That's heartbreaking.
I think, that's always been the thing, and that's always, like, my dad never took it. He was always that kind of, and he was naturally a big fella, and I kind of followed suit as well. But to me, I think it's I would rather do it without, and get as far as I have. And don't get me wrong, I haven't got very far. I don't think I have. I don't think I've, but I enjoy doing what I'm doing. I enjoy competing, and I can see, and as you say, hand on heart, I can go, yeah, I did that. I trained, and I trained through
it's more
niggles, everything else.
I think it's more for people when there's money involved. If there's big money involved, as long as there's money involved, there will be cheating involved.
And potentially everybody else, if everybody else around you in your environment is doing it, there's the pressure there as well. I think I think it's massively widespread, and like a friend of mine, Mike Lang's a nutritionist from down in Stockton, and he used to say that he wants to see like clean divisions, but he also says there should be another division where they can take as much steroids as they want, and you can have like an Incredible Hulk and Abomination type kind of fight, where they just get as big as you want, and just
This is the thing, because it's quite funny, like because we just mentioned the 100 meters. Nobody wants to see the Olympic 100 meter final being running 10:05. So people want to see people try to beat Usain Bolt. They want to see, can I do a 9:3? That's what people want to see. So But then if you do that, who wants to watch natural? It's like watching the world's strongest man, and then going and watching like a natural strongman competition. You go, I don't want to watch this bullshit. I want to see a man lifting 1,000 kilos. You know what I mean? Nobody cares about it. He deadlifts 350, but he's clean. Everybody goes, I don't care. But that's outrageous. But because Hafthor Bjornsson just done the 501.
Yes.
Nobody in the world is going to tell me that he's clean. So the guy who's clean. It's actually funny because he's fighting Eddie Hall.
Yes.
I seen him. I said it to Ali yesterday.
You did say that.
Hafthor on the pads, and it's one of those things where you go, okay, so I know he's an elite athlete, and he's got that elite athlete mentality of working fucking hard.
Yeah.
He has got a long way to go. Like you watch it and you go, I don't know how he's going to fight.
Do you know what? Well, I saw that and I thought the same, and then I thought, you know what? Though he's got a year, and it's not like he's going in with an already established, but he's going in with Eddie Hall.
Yeah, Eddie Hall.
So they're both kind of at the same level. And I thought, well, fair play. If you raise a bit of money, and it depends what you're doing with it and stuff. Because, like, you all remember when Pudzianowski moved into MMA. He was awful, and he was trying to compete with established MMA fighters. Where I suppose at least to give Hafthor a little bit of credit, he's with Eddie Hall. So the two of them are on a journey together. So it's a bit like a white collar kind of setup.
Yeah. So it's, like I say, he has a year, and he's absolutely terrible just now. But like I say, he has that elite athlete mentality where he will improve, and he's going to work hard for a year. The only thing is, I've seen. I come from a boxing background. That's what my background was before jiu-jitsu. So I've seen Eddie Hall hitting pads before, and Eddie had been training for a little while, and he's not by any. You don't look at him and go, he's good, but you look at him and you go, he's a lot better than Hafthor. A lot better. Do you know what I mean? So
I haven't seen Eddie Hall on them, so I don't know.
He's a lot better than Hafthor.
So he might be in trouble then.
He might be, and too big.
The other thing we're all discounting here is we could see 2021. We could see Hafthor versus Mike Tyson in a 3-round special.
But I would only tune into that if they were going to let Hafthor do like a bit of Game of Thrones kind of trial.
Yeah.
Then I would watch that.
Tremendous. Yeah.
If you can squash somebody's head for real.
We could have a triple threat match. Throw Eddie. In fact,
if they made it Hafthor Bjornsson and Evander Holyfield versus Eddie Hall and Mike Tyson in a tag team match.
The thing is, then I'd put it inside Hell in a Cell. Put it inside Hell in a Cell. Steel chairs are optional.
Steel chairs are optional.
That would only happen in Russia, that wouldn't it? Just
it would happen in Russia. It would happen in Russia. It's quite funny because that's where Sambo was a Russian military sort of fighting combat sport.
Yeah.
So, because I read something. Now, what does Sambo actually stand for? It's something outrageous, isn't it?
It's an acronym, yes. So Sambo is like and I apologise to anybody Russian that's watching this, and any of my Russian friends on Facebook. I do apologise. It's Sambo Zashta Bez Oruzhia is the full title. So Sambo is basically an acronym of that. It's like a shortened acronym of that, but it stands for self-defense without weapons. That's what it was for. So it was designed for combat and for battlefield kind of battlefield encounters. So the scoring system still mimics that a little bit, because if you're familiar with judo and the ippon score,
yeah.
So in judo, if I throw you flat on your back and land on top of you, that's ippon. If I throw you and stay standing, that's ippon. In judo, that's how it works. In Sambo, I only get what they call a total victory if I remain standing. So I have to do like a clear throw. I have to throw you and stay standing for that to end the fight, because the theory behind that is I could either shoot you or kick you in the head, and that will be the fight over. That's the battlefield application. So in terms of if I throw you flat on your back in Sambo and land on top of you, then I have to pin you. And that's where, because it's seen that it wouldn't be a total dominance, but I'm in a better position and I can kind of hold you there and pin you. And you can get various, if you pin for 10 seconds, you get 2 points. If you pin for 20 seconds, you get 4 points. And if you're 8 points clear in a match at any point, then you win outright.
Okay.
So there's a few ways you can score, and obviously your submissions end the fight straight away. But that's where the scoring differs to judo, because it has to, for a total victory, I have to still be standing over my opponent, because that's the theory behind it in terms of like a real combat setting, if that makes sense,
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
So what? Sorry, what did them? So I take it, did the Russians just have a look at things and go, we like this part of judo, we like this part of wrestling, this part of whatever, and just kind of go, let's just make our own thing. If
you think they took aspects of judo, wrestling, jiu-jitsu as it was at the time, but also if you look at all their little indigenous styles of wrestling around Georgia, Kazakhstan, and places like that, you've got Kuresh, Chidaoba, you've got the Mongolian wrestling. They took aspects of all of that and added that in as well. So you've got a lot of belt dominant techniques, some big like dustbin type throws. All of those come from the indigenous kind of ex-Soviet state wrestling, folk wrestling. That's where they came from. So they mixed everything, and it was, as you say, the best of everything into what is now known as Sambo.
So it is a very, very solid background then for getting into MMA.
Massively so. I mean, obviously combat Sambo is literally MMA with a jacket, plus you.
That's such a good headbutt. That's the most Russian shit ever.
Well, to be fair, I was going to say it's the most Scottish shit ever, to be honest.
That's true.
It's like a natural thing for you, lot, isn't it? You should be great at it.
Excuse me, pal. Grab your jacket and headbutt you.
To be fair, you're laughing about it. That's pretty much how you see them working. It's great. Honestly, I've seen guys win world finals with a headbutt. It's a bizarre thing in a sporting contest, but it's obviously you've got the head guard on, but it's still like a fight ender. They're out. People are out cold with it. I think it's a great gateway into MMA if you wanted to go down that route. But I also think as an all-round art for kind of looking after yourself and self-protection, it offers everything.
It's fighting, because you could say with either jiu-jitsu or judo, you know, if you're talking about the pure art, they're not really fighting. Whereas, you know, maybe Sambo's more about being aggressive and fucking, it's fighting, it's hard. You know, judo and jiu-jitsu, you could say, well, you know, jiu-jitsu is meant to be, you know, the gentle art.
Well,
yeah, Sambo's more about
being
fucking aggressive. So yeah, maybe Sambo's more about fighting. Better use for the pubs.
The scoring system tends to favour more aggression as well than judo, certainly. But I mean, to be fair, I've never understood how people can say judo and jiu-jitsu are the gentle arts, because they're not. Like, it's never felt gentle to me. It's cut my ears, it's broke me fingers, it's knocked me back, it's knocked me knees. So it's not. There's nothing. There doesn't seem to be a lot that's gentle about it. But Sambo's probably a bit more uncivilized, if you like, if that was the case.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And I don't mean that in a negative way towards it, you know, but it's a bit more brutal and a bit more aggressive, you know.
The thing is about fighting, you know, if you're fighting's fighting, and it's not, you know, you're not looking necessarily at, you know, well, if I do this, I might get this. It's about fucking fighting, you know, grabbing things and, you know, grabbing things, headbutting things, and, you know, throwing people about. You know, it's more that's you know, it's essentially fighting's, you know, as the UFC was, kind of no holds barred. Is it? You know, that's kind of what fighting is.
100%.
So yeah, that's it's quite interesting. Hopefully, you know, it's always cool when these other, you know, for like of us, you know, I think it's cool when we start to see more martial arts coming in, because it gives you more idea, and then there will be things within, you know, Sambo that we could implement ourselves into jiu-jitsu, and you know, there's always things that you could take.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you're back to Bruce Lee there again, aren't you? You know, taking what's useful and rejecting the rest, aren't you?
Yeah. It's funny. One of the things, and we were talking about this the other day, where I think it was Mop actually, Ali, when we done the last podcast we've done. So one of the things I had always found hilarious was Aikido. I always thought Aikido was stupid, and then it wasn't until our professor Dan has a really nice Aikido arm drag. How to open an arm up, because the way you do traditional jiu-jitsu arm drag, you know, you maybe grab here and pull forward, whereas he was going, you grab this way, pull out, and then you can pull the arm forward easier, because this isn't as strong as this.
Yeah.
So it's an Aikido thing. Then you go, oh, wait a minute. So if they do that well, maybe they do other things well, and then you kind of learn to, like, you know, not think that other things are stupid. Maybe say, I can maybe take this part and this part, and
definitely.
You know,
I think it's got something to offer, and it goes back to what I said earlier about sometimes it's the person doing it rather than. I mean, hey, Steven Seagal, Shane Anderson.
I know. Yeah.
That's one of the guys. That's one of the guys. You look at Steven Seagal's beard and hair. Steven Seagal is about 105 years old, and he has beautiful black beard and black hair.
Yeah.
That's one of the guys I was thinking. That's one of the guys I was thinking of. Was Steven Seagal.
If you look at him in some of his earlier films, that was a thin, slick back hair. He's had a weave put on that, I'm sure.
Definitely. There's definitely something going on. One of the two. There's definitely some dead orphan's hair weaving into that somewhere. It's brutal. It's brutal. But yeah, Aikido was one of those weird things. Because talking about Seagal, he was like the first guy that was the first Westerner to learn the secrets of Aikido. Remember, that was how they used to pimp it in all his movies when he was doing like Nico and Hard to Kill, when he was breaking guys' fingers and punching them in the throat.
The thing is, if you don't know any better, Aikido would be. I mean, it is literally for disarming people with swords, isn't it? That's what Aikido is all about. So if you didn't know any better, again, if you go into you know a dojo and there's a guy who's an Aikido master, you know, Steven Seagal's there, and you fight him, and you know nothing other than how to windmill, he will fuck you up. Like, he will fuck you up. There's no way around about it. So, you know, it's, you know, we kind of laugh and we're joking, but again, there's always good points from within.
I like the anecdote though. I don't know if you ever heard that story about Jean LaBelle strangling him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard that. Jean LaBelle.
Sure, I think I have heard something about this.
Apparently put him to sleep. He was very much. Apparently Seagal was a bit. Obviously, Jean LaBelle was a stuntman more than anything else. He had a few bit parts in different films.
Yeah.
He was a stuntman, and he was very, very kind of loyal to his stunt team, and he always looked after the lads apparently. And seemingly Seagal was roughing some of the guys up a little bit too much, and he'd kind of. I don't know if he'd been a bit derogatory to Jean LaBelle about judo or something, and they'd had a bit of a tussle, and Jean strangled him. put him to sleep, and then sat him up and brought him back round in front of everybody and like kind of just pretty much humiliated him, you know. I would like to see he'd put him that far under that he'd pissed himself, but I would be totally making that bit up.
I think we could do that. I think we could just add that. We can edit that and we just say you put him so far under and pisses himself. It's internet. We could do anything we want.
I like a bit of poetic justice like that, you know, because I hate that kind of bullying arsehole mentality.
I love that.
And I like that, you know. If that's a true story, I love that.
Some of those, some of the videos you see on YouTube where, you know, a guy who can't fight, and you know, there's so many of them. He goes to fight a guy who's a martial artist, and he gets fucked up. They're the best videos, though. You know, there's so many. A guy being a fucking dickhead to somebody, and some guy head kicks him and knocks him into oblivion. You know, you know, those are the best. Those are. I love watching those videos.
Everybody loves those, don't they? The underdog, the kind of the bullying, getting poetic justice type videos. I love them. I agree.
It's better when they rip the shirts off and they're fucking shouting on to somebody, and you see some little old fella. So he just comes up, just flips, takes him to the back and rear naked chokes him and then puts him to sleep. That's amazing to watch.
That's amazing. I like that.
There's a video of we had you know Brandon that was on a couple of episodes ago, Chris. Brendan McGaffin. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, Barry. And he's got a video up on his site because a guy came into his gym, like 22 years old, all jacked up with like the sleeves, and said, "I'll take on anyone in your gym." And Brandon's like, "Okay, let's go for it then." And Brandon was saying he's like 5'8", not the biggest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, "Oh, I don't want to fight an old man." And Brandon's like, "That's cool. I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm okay. Don't worry about it." And just absolutely turned him into a pretzel. Just like the guy's like screaming like, "Ah, ah, ah." And Brandon's just like, not even like trying, do you know what I mean? Like probably about 30% effort, just tying this point literally. I love that.
That's my favourite thing. I love that. I love those stories.
It's great, that, isn't it? And it's like it's one of those things. It's like you say, be wary of an old guy that's still active in a kind of a young man's sport.
I always say this about our coach. Our coach John is judo black belt, jiu-jitsu brown belt, had some MMA fights. And I always, you just think, if he was ever, out, for a walk or something at night or whatever, any situation where some young lads were giving him stick, you just think, you'd be going, look at this old man, and he's like, he would fuck you up in so many different disciplines, not even like in one discipline. You know what I mean? He would fuck you. He would destroy you in so many different disciplines, and you would go. And then you'd have to go and tell your pals that some old men jumped you and all this. You'd have to go. Do you know what I mean? These 6 old men that were hitting me with their sticks. It's just so funny.
The scariest part is John would do it with a smile on his face the entire time.
What I love about these old guys, it doesn't matter how old they are, they still have that, that old man strength.
Yeah.
That old man says, you grip thing, you go, oh, no, I don't like this.
It's true. Like, my dad had an accident at work last year and he hurt his knee, like ruptured his quad, dislocated his tendon, also had a bad fall at work. But still now, he's still like, he's walking around, he's a lot more mobile now. But when if we have a little bit of frisk now, I can get a hold of him, and he's 63-year-old, and I get a hold of him and he grabs us, and I think that's still a big bear's arm. That it's like it's mental, it's daft, but it's still there, and it's good to know that. Like, I think it's good for the like. I always think, well, if I'm still training when I'm that age, I'm still going to be strong, and I'm still going to be because he is.
It's good for everything. It's only good. It can only be good for everything.
Yeah.
You don't want to be one of the. You see your dad's 63. I mean, you see the average 63-year-old man, and you think he's just small and weak and unable to do anything. You think if you've got a 63-year-old man that can still grab you and make you go, holy shit, what's this all about? You know what I mean? That's where we all want to be. You know what I mean? You all want to be at that stage where you're in your 60s and still able to handle yourself. That's where you want to be in life.
100%. Yeah, it's because I think it's good from a point of view that even just when he's out and about, obviously not so much now because we're all like locked down, but when he's out and about, he can kind of take care of himself still. As daft as that sounds, I'm worried about me. But I know for a fact.
No, but it's nice. It's a nice feeling. If he goes to the pub, if he goes to the pub for a pint, and some young lads are getting, pissed up and causing trouble. He can still handle himself. It's a good thing that you don't have to worry about,
I mean, we don't so much. He doesn't so much bother like pubs wise now. But he got me into whiskey, so we're quite like we go to these whiskey tastings and stuff, So that's a bit more sophisticated now. We're a bit like sophisticated way of getting pissed.
One of the things I wanted to come back to, Barry, was you said you the Masters 2018 was in Morocco.
Yeah.
What's that? Because that's quite. I love those kind of. We're talking to Ian Mackey about this as well as. Doing these sports, as you get to go and see parts of the world that you would never normally go to see. So just going to Morocco, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Was it a nice enough place to compete, or was that a bit sketchy?
To be honest, it was Casablanca in Morocco. It was like and
obviously
you've got the classic film named after it and stuff. And it was my grandmother's favourite film. She was a big Humphrey Bogart fan, and I thought, Casablanca, it's going to be great. And to be honest, it was awful. It was. I'm not one of these people that I wouldn't be negative about it, but it was fucking terrible. Like
I know.
We all came back from Casablanca, and within a couple of weeks we were all ill, massively ill, and ran down. And a lot of it I think could have been like we're run down from like training camps, and after the big event, the adrenaline in the event. Then your immune system's crashes a bit, and it could have been that. Yeah. But it was just, it just wasn't. There was a lot of poverty, and the road systems. Jesus, taxis. Wow, I've never been. I mean, I've been to Malaysia and a couple of other places where the taxis are a little bit kind of scary. But fucking hell, they're driving on the wrong side of the road. Where a taxi we were in knocked a person off a bike and kept on going. They don't observe roundabouts, so you've got a roundabout. They drive on the opposite side to us anyway, but you don't observe a roundabout. So all they do is they just use the horns excessively all the time, and they're pulling out, and they've got these like shitty larders that they're driving, quarters and larders, and and they're going the wrong way around roundabouts, and then they're giving people gobfuls of abuse, and they need to the up. And this is taxi drivers, and you're like, I got stung because I sat in the front, and it was the worst experience of my life. The guys I was with coming back to the venue jumped in the back, so I was left in the front. I was like, and it wasn't for getting stung with a bill. I didn't mind that. It was the sheer terror of thinking I'm going to get it first.
It's coming straight at you.
In the back of this bus, and I'm going to die, and I'm going to die in Morocco, and it's going to be shit. And I just wasn't happy, It was like the bombing round, and as I say, the taxi home knocked some cyclist off a bike and just carried on. And I was like, I think you've just hit that.
Do you want to stop getting some?
Well, he kind of waffled on. He waffled onto me and just dismissed it, and I was like, okay, all right, fair enough. But it was just a bit. Like the poverty side of it wasn't very nice to see, and it wasn't what I thought. I guess, and I suppose you can always be disappointed by certain places, but I have been to Japan, I've been to Minsk, I've been to St. Petersburg, and the lovely places, Cyprus was good last year because obviously Cyprus is a nice, it's like a holiday destination as well.
Yeah.
So we got a bit of sun. It was great, But,
I know my mum and dad had been on a cruise someplace, and they'd stopped off at Casablanca, and they said themselves, "A fucking shithole! What a horrible place it was."
Yeah, well they are. Yeah.
Yeah, they get off the cruise boat and they get like a bus into the town. I think they got in, they kind of walked 100 yards and went,
Yeah.
Let's go back to the boat. Horrible place.
It's just it's that weird poverty level you get in some places, though, as you were saying, Barry, where it's stuff that we're not used to seeing over here.
Yeah.
Like I had one of my mates was based out in India for a year through work, and he got put up in like a 5-star hotel. It was absolutely amazing. And he was saying like one day, like one of the beggars that basically lived outside the hotel had died in the street. And because, they have the caste system,
yes,
he was so low caste that people wouldn't touch his body. They had to wait on basically the bin lorry coming along. And he just got locked in the bin lorry. He was literally laid in the street for like 2 days, just dead. And it was just like,
okay, man, that's
wow.
You can't fathom that, can you? You can't fathom that.
No.
It's mental.
This is, one of the things about this country, when, obviously there is people who are really poor in this country, but most of the people that are poor in this country have, a big telly and, an iPhone. That's the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
There's parts of the world that poverty means poverty. Like they have nothing other than what they're wearing. It's pretty, I think a lot of people should realise how lucky we are in this country.
Take a lot of things for granted. I think it makes you take stock a little bit, And I know that sounds cliched, but it does. It really does. Like I wasn't the only one from the team that felt like that about Casablanca. It was very much,
everybody was a bit.
Yeah, and then when we all kind of got poorly at the same time, we were like, "Fucking hell, what's happened there?" The water, the food, or
So what do you do? Do you all stay were you all in the same hotel then?
Yeah, pretty much. Like the international body for Sambo is called FIAS, FIAS. They organise the hotels for the competitors and the officials, and you normally find that they'll get like 2 or 3 hotels, and you'll be, or as a team, as the British team, we're always together. But they'll put various teams in the same hotels and stuff, and then they put transport on to take you from the hotel to the venue, and then from the venue back to the hotel.
So then, do you then like go for meals together, have food together as your team?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's pretty nice then.
Obviously, you're fighting at different times sometimes with different age categories, different weights and whatnot. So some people might be weighing in on a particular day, so they'll have to watch what they're eating and stuff. But on the last night, obviously everybody's together and we all have a drink and a scran and stuff, and it's great. The atmosphere is good, and you tend to get like other teams mixing with you as well. You get pissed with the Israelis and the Germans and the Mexicans, the Spanish, the Americans. It's good, It's a good atmosphere, and you've tried to pull each other's arms and legs off for 2 days, and then you're on the drink after. It's nice,
We've said it's true. We've said that a few times about the whole combat sport, particularly like you can try and literally choke someone unconscious, try and break their arm, and then when the buzzer goes or whatever, you shake hands, and then if you see them outside, actually a lot of the people in it are some of the nicest people I've met, except for Chris, obviously. But a lot of the other guys are really sound. Yeah. It's true.
I've seen that coming a mile off there. I can see it building up, going up. I know what's coming.
I suppose that restaurant, though, that'd have been a bad restaurant to walk into and decide to start some shit with all you guys sat there, all these combat Sambo experts from around the world, and someone comes in and starts getting a bit leery.
I asked a pal of mine. He'd gone to Casablanca for a stag do, and it was a work trip, and then he had like a bit of a stag do for his workmates while he was there. Okay. So I'd messaged him before I went. I said, "Look, what was it like? Is it a bit ropey? Is there a do's and don'ts?" And and he said, "No." He says, "Really?" He says, "It was a bit micey in certain areas." He says, "And I wouldn't take me missus. I wouldn't take her." He says, "But with a group of lads, it'd be all right." He says, "And with you lot fucking wondering about where your collie is," he says, "they'll probably just leave you alone." But and that was what he said. But you're still vulnerable. It's like, Jesus, that level of poverty inspires a lot of violent crime, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah,
so, with the best friend in the world, you're still a bit nervous, and it's still twitchy bum time when you're wandering around dark alleys or you take a wrong turn somewhere,
Definitely. So what is the World Championships is meant to be this year? Is that now going to happen next year? Are they moving that? Or
well, what they'll probably do, because they do it every year. So what they'll probably do is, if it gets written off this year because of the COVID-19 thing, then that'll be it. So it'll just be next year anyway. I mean, it was going to be Holland this year. I don't know how they'll work it in terms of if the host nations will still host it next year rather than pick another one. I don't know, because they've missed their chance type of thing. So I don't know how they'll do that, because obviously this kind of thing's never happened really.
Is it Amsterdam it's in, is it?
Yeah.
We were in I was at NAGA, European NAGA Championships in Amsterdam last year. Jiu-Jitsu, brilliant fun, much fun. It's one of the coolest places to be able to compete and then go out and get a drink and get some nice food and wander about the red light district and all that. It's a nice place to compete.
It's a bizarre place, isn't it? I was there for
so strange.
one of my best mates stag do's. I was there, and I was his best man, and I had a really bad experience, so I wasn't particularly looking forward to it. I had pretty much the worst experience of my life in Amsterdam. So I was very much like for me, it was when I heard it was Amsterdam, I was like, oh no, I'm not sure I want to go there. I think flying into Schiphol Airport, it'll be like a nightmare anyway.
Flashback.
I was my mate's best man in Amsterdam, and it's one of the funniest things ever. Was we were walking through the red light district, and we decided beforehand we weren't really going to go into any of the clubs to begin with. We kind of had a wander about and just a few quiet drinks. You know, we've got like the come see men outside that try and get you into the clubs.
Yeah.
And all the way down, we're going, no, it's fine. And then this guy's like, we've got all the strippers. We've got white strippers, black strippers, yellow strippers. And we're like, no. And the guy's like, we've got dwarf strippers. And we're like, guys.
and go. Try it, bring it now.
Like, when you say dwarfs, he goes, we've got 2 dwarf strippers. So, you know, and we're like, okay, cut us a deal. So we made a deal where we got in. I think it was like €30, and they gave us like 2 free drinks and blah 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 blah. So the guy takes us down into the bar, gets us our tickets, and that. And like, so where are these dwarf strippers? And he whistled to someone and shouted something in Dutch. And the DJ put the music on and says, "Welcome on stage, Kristal and Candy." And these 2 like 4 foot tall dwarfs, like the basques, the suspenders. I just fell off the bar stool, just like. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my god!
I've seen.
It's brilliant.
On stage dancing away. Honestly, I couldn't see for tears running down my eyes. The funniest thing I've ever seen.
That's brilliant. I like how that was the selling point, though. Right.
We're literally, there was like the 5 of us walking, we're going, no thanks, mate. And obviously they're all going, come in, no thanks. And the boy's like, we've got dwarf strippers. Oh. Let's not just discount this one. Let's not just be so hasty here.
I don't want to see any regular good-looking women take their clothes off. Get me some dwarfs, I'm in.
We can see that anywhere.
You can see that anywhere. Oh, yeah. Man, that's brilliant. Oh, that's funny.
It was tremendous. It was tremendous. That's just most for an audience, I think.
This is lost it.
Everyone's just
we either gained a lot of followers or lost everybody at that point.
Yeah, it could go either one or 2 ways.
It could go one or 2 ways. Oh, that's good.
Back to the point. It is nice to travel and spend time with your friends.
Aye. Embracing cultures as well.
That's correct. Absolutely.
And
diversity of cultures, everything.
See, Ali's not highest. He doesn't mind if he doesn't mind if his strippers are short. Oh Jesus, man! I'll be honest with you. I don't know where to go with that now. I have no idea what to talk about. It's I've got that mental image in my head now. I'm like, what the fuck? Where did I go? Where do you go from dwarf strippers? What do we cover?
I'm not even sure.
What about Minsk? Talk us about Minsk, Barry. How was Minsk for the visit?
Minsk was lovely. That was a great place. Yeah.
Was there any midget strippers?
No, there wasn't. No midgets. All strippers, all both together. None of them.
None of them.
I did see an old woman who was about 80 walking a pit bull that looked like it had took a horrendous amount of steroids. That was me in there.
The old woman or the pit bull?
No, the pit bull. The old lady. I mean, if the dog decided to go somewhere, she wasn't stopping it.
Taking her for a walk.
We were walking back to our hotel, me and Matt Klemter, and we were walking back, and I said to Matt, I went, fucking hell, I says, how on earth? I said, can you imagine? I says, you couldn't even outrun that. And he went, I haven't got to outrun that, Barry. I've only got to outrun you. Yeah, that's a fair point.
A good point.
Nice. And it was one. It had the ears clipped and everything. It looked like it was a fighting dog. But like I said, the woman that had it, she was about 80-year-old.
Oh god, that's one of those places. It's another one of those places where I think there's a jiu-jitsu competition. In Minsk, I think there's a jiu-jitsu competition. It's one of those places you go, that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to go. Yeah. I'd like to go someplace like that, and I think it's quite cool if you get to go and compete someplace.
It was great.
You've never been.
You should. I mean, if you can go, definitely go.
I like
Minsk. It was a great place. and it was you could still see the very heavy Soviet influence on some of the buildings and stuff, you know. But sports people are really well looked after when you go to places like that, you know.
So that's one of the things I was going to ask. So seeing like a place like Minsk, so anywhere in that, you know, the places where you've mentioned the sense of really good, you know, Georgia or any of these places with good wrestling backgrounds, did they treat you, you know, if they know you're a Sambo guy, did they treat you a little bit nicer because you're a Sambo guy?
My experience has been, I think that, you know, there might be like that with people from all sports. I don't know. Obviously, you know, you can only speak as you find. But whenever you go somewhere for part of a competition, there's, especially at masters level, there's a bit more courtesy and a bit more understanding, I think, and there's kind of a nod to like, we're cracking on a bit, but you know, let's just do it and do what we can, you know. And there is I think there is an element of respect's a bit overused, but you know where I'm coming from, like courtesy, if you like, I suppose. You do get looked after, and they kind of give you a little bit of a I suppose a bit of kind of mutual nod, if you like, of appreciation, you know, because I think it's very big over there. Like you take Sambo out of this country, internationally, it's massive. It's as big as judo internationally, you know. Other countries, a lot of the Eastern European countries do Sambo and judo exclusive. They're like interchangeably, you know.
Is there something? Is there something in Russia you can go to? I think that'd be cool to go to Russia. Well, some Sambo.
Yeah, well, I trained in St. Petersburg. I got invited to go to St. Petersburg with the other British Sambo coaches 7 years ago, and we had a week training at the Centre for Excellence in St. Petersburg, and that was fantastic, absolutely amazing. And then that was the year I was due to go. The World Championships, the World Sambo Championships, were in Moscow that year, and what was it? It might have been St. Petersburg again, but I was there in the October. And I was due to go in the November for the World Championships for combat Sambo, and I dislocated my knee 2 weeks before I went, and I couldn't go. Right. So I had to pull out. So I never got to compete in Russia, but I have trained there, and it's fantastic, you know. Like the level of the level of skill is massive, and on a mat, on any given session on a night, you've got 60, 70 people, and it's that pool of talent is just huge. Like I was the only coach that was still competing at the time. The rest of the coaches I'd gone with were like kind of retired coaches, and they were just running clubs. So because I was due to compete at the Worlds, they stitched me up all the time, and they were like, "Oh, Barry's fighting in a couple of weeks' time. Can we have somebody to fight Barry?" And at the time, I was fighting at under 100 kilos, and the coach went, "Oh yeah." So I'm just getting gloved up to do a bit of sparring, and he shouts, "Nikolai!" And fucking Nikolai rocks up out of the changing room. We hadn't been on the mat all night. Nikolai was in a case somewhere that was like break glass in case of a visitor. That's what Nikolai was for, right? I'm convinced of this because they tortured me about it afterwards. I was like, where the frig did he come from? He was huge, and he was slightly disgruntled, I'll say, in terms of personality. He came over and he dusted my arse all over the mat, like literally just kind of, you know, really humbled us. And as I said, I've been on a judo mat or Sambo, you know, from being 6. So I don't think I'm great, but I know my way around a little bit. And I got spanked good and proper. And not in the good way, you know, like he was dragged around, and I was like, fuck. And so, of course, the rest of the Brits were laughing, you know. I get up, and anyhow, afterwards, he shook my hand, gave us a hug, and that was the best grip I had of him, was when I cuddled him. I was like, wow, that was really humbling. Because I'm thinking, I was close to competing. I was only a month away, so I was fit anyway, and I was sick. So as he kind of caught me early stages, I thought, right. So I stepped it up a gear, and I was right. He did it again, so I stepped it up again, and I was fortunate enough to have gears to travel through, if you like. But he didn't seem to get out the second gear, and he's bang, bing, bing, bing. There's an arm lock, there's a leg lock for you, bing, you know. And I'm like, wow, are you kidding?
It's funny. Some of these, when we were in Amsterdam at Naga, I competed at under 100 kilos. So I think I was 98 kilos I competed at. I think it was the weight's 92 to 100, I think is the weight. But the weight up from that is when you see some big Eastern European men, and you look at them and you think, we are not the same fucking thing. We are not the same species.
Yeah.
Massive, like, Polish guys and Russians.
You think,
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Do you know, if you know, because I'm, Ali's 6'3" or something and 80 something kilos. I'm 6 foot and 100 kilos. So you went, I'm a fairly big man, and you look at these guys, you're thinking, holy fuck.
Yeah. it's really like the weigh-in for me at international competitions. The weigh-in's really like a big thing. Because I'm about 115 kilos, so I'm heavyweight now. But I've only been that really the last couple of years. But I'm about 6 foot, 6.5 inches maybe, because I've shrunk since like I've had a few back issues and stuff, and I'm getting old. But at that weight, I always think I'm potentially not small, but when I go to competitions internationally and I'm weighing in with some of these guys, man, and it's like, wow, like you're absolutely horrifically terrifying. How are you? Where are you from? You know, it's like.
What I always remember funny is, like I said, I came from a boxing background, and the Scottish super heavyweight that we always had was a pal of mine, Ross Henderson. Ross is a lovely big guy, and I was very good. His coach, Frank Delaney, was an older guy, lovely guy. Ross was 6'6.5", and when he was fit, he was 115 kilos. A big man.
Yeah.
And I remember speaking to Frank, and they were saying, how's Ross getting on internationally? Because there wasn't a lot of big guys in Scotland, so it was very hard for him to develop quickly. But he'd been going to camps in Scotland, and he was improving. And I was saying to Frank, how's he getting on, Frank? He said, it's good. He said, you know what his problem is, Chris? He's not big enough. For international tournaments. And I'm like, he's not big enough. I ended up boxing him once because I fucking agreed to it because I'm an idiot, and I'd fight anybody, and I fucking took the fight. And you stand in front of him going, holy fuck. So when he's saying he's not big enough, because some of these Eastern Europeans were 140 kilos and 6'8", 6'9", 7 foot, and you're thinking, what the fuck? What are we dealing with here? So it's amazing. So I know. I remember speaking to Chris Sherrington.
Yeah.
Judo guy, yeah. Chris Sherrington. So I'm friends with his ex-wife, and he trained with my strength and conditioning coach. He's coming on the podcast on Sunday actually. And Chris Sherrington's the same. Chris Sherrington's a big man,
big lump, yeah.
And he was saying, some of these world class guys, I'm not. It's not big enough. You're thinking, who's bigger than you?
That's what you think. Honestly, seriously, like domestically in the heavyweight division, I'm all right size wise. I'm comparable, but when you go abroad, it's madness. Like it baffles me where they get them. Like last year in Cyprus last year for the World Masters, there was a big pool of Russians because it's nice and handy for them. It's one of their big holiday destinations is Cyprus. So
that's right. Yeah.
There was a lot of Russians there for the competition and then extended holidays after. But there was two guys actually. There was a guy from Bulgaria in my age division who was 162 kilos and 6 foot.
What?
And the age category below, which my friend was fighting in, Georgiev from Bulgaria, he was fighting, and his guy was 157 kilos and 6'5", and Georgie beat him. He dropped shoulder through him and pinned him. It was brilliant. The noise was fantastic. Splat, boom, and obviously the pin didn't take much because the guy couldn't get up.
That's one of those things where I've always, even in jiu-jitsu when I boxed, I would take pretty much any fight. But I said, we've got this guy for you. It's 157 kilos. You'd be going, nah.
Just leave
that. I'll phone Barry. He'll be all right with that. I'm not fighting somebody 157. That's a big.
Well,
that's a big human being.
Because my mate Joe, I was light in my bracket at 115 kilos. I was the lightest. Georgie was 102 kilos in his over 100s, and so he was lighter still. And as I see, last year he got silver. He was brilliant last year. 40 socks off, outstanding. He's an outstanding sambist anyway, and he was a judo player as well. He from Bulgaria originally, lives down in Cheshire now. But he's great. Right. We've become like good mates, through Sambo really, and he's great. Like and as I say, he was massively out of his weight, if you like. He should have been under 100, you know, but 157 kilos, and the other guy was in my age group was 167. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, 162. Sorry, 162 kilos. I don't know how you get that big.
No,
I don't know. That's wild. You just
that's a big lumpy.
Pies, I would imagine.
That's a big lumpy human being. That. Jesus Christ.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He wasn't athletic either. It was a big.
No, he can't. I mean, there comes a point where mass becomes hard to move. There's no way around about it.
Oh, scary, man. Scary.
But that's a big lumpy human. Listen, guys, I don't. This is. I'm having a really good time. This is a fun conversation, but I have to get a workout done because I've been working building my shed all day.
I'm just
gym.
Is it 5 to 9? Is it really 5 to 9?
Yeah. We've done an hour and a half, guys. It's been. I think Barry, if you're happy, we jump back on for another episode at some point.
Oh yeah, if you'll have me, yeah.
Definitely.
I thought when you asked me, I thought you must have run out of interesting people. That's why I said.
No, not at all. Not at all, man. It's been really good fun. It has been good fun, but I've been when I heard last week they were going to not open the gyms possibly until October or later, October at earliest, and I went, this is not. I have to lift weights, so I've extended my summer house that I had. I was using it as a gym, so I've extended it, and I've got a squat rack and stuff coming. So
nice.
I've been building that all day, and I have to go and get some kind of workout.
No worries at all. No worries at all. I didn't realise it was that long.
That's the best conversations when you don't realise how long. I'm just looking at my watch and going, shit, we're approaching 9 o'clock and I've still got to work out. But that was really good fun.
I enjoyed that. It was really good, lads. Brilliant.
Definitely.
Definitely welcome back on.
Definitely, we'll get you back on. I'll sign off and now stop the recording. But that was episode 12, folks, with Barry Gibson. Barry, if anyone's wanting to follow you on the social media or anything, where could they find you?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as GrappleFit. You'll find me on there if you want to. If you're bored and you struggle, I'll put there's training clips, Sambo clips, or whatever you like, you know.
Perfect. I'll tag you in as well when we post this. But thanks very much, Barry. This has been really good. I'm just going to stop the recording now. Thanks guys.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.